Ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave you the CNN article below. Trump World's latest crazy idea could be good for Democrats. It's not good for Democrats if Trump runs for Speaker of the House because it would energize the Republican Party. The Republican Party is nothing without Trump. He is the first president to step foot in North Korea. He allocated more funding to historically black colleges and universities than any president ever. The tariffs that he imposed on other countries are not being... Well, Biden has kept those. President Biden has kept those tariffs. So that should tell you something about Trump's economic policies. And one of the most important things he's done is negotiate a deal to get us out of America's longest-running counterinsurgency conflict. And so he is more popular. I'll leave you the YouGov poll in the description section. He's more popular than Reagan. He's one of the most, if not the most popular president for Republicans ever. I think Lincoln barely edges him out. And so you have CNN, CNN cannot ever admit or acknowledge that Trump is very popular within the Republican Party. It is impossible for them to acknowledge this. They cannot. It is blasphemy for them to say anything that could remotely be viewed as positive towards Trump. That's why when one of their hosts, pundits, said, well, name an example when I've been biased against Trump. It's like that all they've done is go against Trump every day, every single day, 24/7 for years. But here, this is a CNN article. It's pretty interesting. Hit subscribe to this channel. Hit subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel below. And if you want to become a member, please hit the join button below. Close your eyes and picture this come January 2023. Speaker of the House Donald J. Trump. If you are like most Americans, the thought of Trump... If you are like most Americans, you're fine with Trump. President Trump is not as polarizing as Democrats would have you believe. Okay, you don't win Ohio and Florida on November 3rd and, be this polarizing, horrible monster. It's true that he shouldn't have said certain things, but nonetheless, what media and Democrats did was sensationalize everything. And with an apoplectic and hysterical public relations spin, fabricate lies about Trump. Everything he did was the end of the world. The sky was falling. It was always, just like Spinal Tap, the volume was on 11, always. So people who were never really into politics suddenly looked and said, oh my God, what's happening? And people who just were liberal or just always vote Democrat, they became passionate because of indignation and contempt and disdain and dislike for Trump that CNN and others cultivated every single day. That's why their ratings are down close to 70% in some cases. CNN, their ratings are down 70%. But here, if you were like most Americans, the thought of Trump, who incited an act of... Okay, Christopher Wray... So what they do is this semantic ploy. They say, well, this is what Christopher Wray said. And as FBI Christopher Wray has defined the January, okay, so he was never indicted, nor was he ever charged with inciting or compelling anybody to do anything. And the interesting thing is, the mayor of D.C. and the attorney general of D.C. could have leveled charges against him, but they did not, because he's protected under the First Amendment, free speech, and he never told anyone to do anything. So the first paragraph here is false, or just fake news. But here, yet it appears some Trump backers are on board, or at least telling Trump supporters that if GOP wins back the House in 2022, which they will, it's just... You can look at what's taking place, but it's also just history. They may choose Trump as speaker, presumably in the hope it will increase turnout of their base. Yeah. The speaker doesn't have to be a member of Congress, so this scenario is possible. There you go. First, this again confirms how out of touch some in Trump world are if they think it's a winning strategy to elevate a man who compelled a horrible tragedy. Again, this is only the viewpoint of the most apoplectic, hysterical, morally superior liberal Democrats. Most Americans don't blame Trump for what happened, just like most Americans don't blame Democrats for 4 to 5 months of $1 to $2 billion in property damage and 25 lives lost for very peaceful yet fiery protests. Always peaceful. Mostly peaceful. CNN was so in the tank for the Democratic Party, there was a building in flames behind a newscaster, and he was like, well, it's mostly peaceful, but it's fiery. Ooh, spicy. And the building was in flames behind him. So nobody believes that sentence also. Second, I can't think of any other development that could inspire the record number of voters who opposed Trump in 2020. Yeah, to come out again in 2022 to vote you, well, you better hope there's the same pandemic-related reforms. Because if you have Republicans enact laws that focus on integrity, let's say, according to Trump, you're not going to have the record number vote Democrats and prevent Trump from becoming speaker. Yeah, the media was in the tank for the Democratic Party. It was an extension of the DNC and Democratic Party from day one. So you have to take things with a grain of salt. Also, Trump fell for a trap in terms of social media. Had he simply deleted his Twitter account last year and gone through the pandemic and everything, which was not his fault, for the whole year without Twitter, history would be different. Twitter was a trap for President Trump. But here, Trump is speaker. From there, the idea has seen more traction in Trump world. Trump world, by the way, is a world of 74 million Americans. 74 million Americans voted for Trump. So it's like there's no Republican Party. There is no conservative movement. Nothing. Look, the people who have certain values, conservative values, that I either have now, have moved towards, or that I adhere to, or that I espouse, or that I think are logical. The Republican Party, unlike the Democratic Party, might have ideals, or might be, hypocritical here and there, but without Trump, it gets steamrolled, obliterated, annihilated, decimated by Democrats 10 out of 10 times every time they go head to head. Because in many ways, establishment, never Trump Republicans are two sides of the same coin. And they don't have the luxury of media. So the moment that Mittens Romney, who's the good Republican, or Susan Murkowski or Lisa Collins, or any kind of Republican that would eventually that doesn't like Trump but is viewed as an actual obstacle, the full weight and influence and force of media and the public relations apparatus will be leveled at that person. Trump is there. Trump is able to overcome that. He fell for a trap last year. He fell for a trap last year. Democrats derive political momentum from indignation pertaining to Trump. Their voters aren't bolstered by policies. There's nothing that that Democrats have done in Congress that the Democratic voters really care about. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's pretty unbelievable because being a Democrat is who they are as individuals, as human beings, as it's their identities. So liberal Democrats are oftentimes going to just simply vote simply because it's who they are. Trump becoming Speaker of the House bolsters, galvanizes, and gives the Democratic Party a huge momentum boost. I think that he should do it. I think it would be absolutely fantastic. I think he should just wait until Republicans take the House and then go ahead and become Speaker of the House. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right this second.